Coming up, billions of people eat tuna, salmon and shellfish on the regular. But extraordinary numbers of seabirds, dolphins and turtles are unintentionally killed by harmful fishing practices.
Tenemos que luchar con el clima, no luchar contra la industria. Es un calvario de repente.
This controversial industry makes its case for a sustainable way.
Because we consider fish seafood and not wildlife, there seems to be a disconnect.
So I don't think we need to relabel the terminology seafood. We just need to generate the better understanding and awareness of that species' role in the wider environment.
We probe a pristine pine forest for some of the planet's most prolific life forms.
Pink gill, and it says it's suspicious.
Apparently, these are the fruiting bodies of a much larger organism underneath.
And would you go to environment theatre?
If you're hiking and you don't post a photo about it online right away, does it even count?
The American actors singing about global warming and their personal challenges raising the issues on stage.
Why do you feel guilty?
Well, because I knew that I had contributed.
Just 2 Degrees is on now.
I was like, oh, what's the point? It's all big corporations anyway. Like, how can I play my part?
There are loads of theatrical productions and musicals that are based on historical events. Richard II, Julius Caesar, Hamilton, for example. I've got another one for you, one that, no surprise, looks at climate tragedies and how the characters in the play deal with them.
Things are changing before our eyes. We must act now before our demise. Our forests are burning, our glaciers gone, the ocean's dirty. What have we done? Line up, lock arms, raise the alarm, sing loud, we're right, be strong and fight.
Some catchy stuff there. Well, it's a cultural take on the climate crisis with a production set in the US Pacific Northwest. Players are faced with a tough choice to save the planet they live in or turn a blind eye to the environmental degradation taking place. Art imitating life there. Well, the show is called Treeson and follows Ash, the protagonist of the story who's been offered control of a logging empire. But along the way, Ash is confronted by her own environmental beliefs. Victoria Campbell is creator and composer of the production Treeson.
Let's start with the name, Treeson. I mean, it obviously sounds like the word treason, betrayal. But there's another production called Treeson the Musical, which I think is about tackling the British monarchy and toppling the government. Why'd you call the production Treeson? And is that what you think we need to get climate action, bring down the government?
Good question. Very intuitive of you. I'm glad that it wasn't completely confusing. I chose Treeson because, yes, the story of my Treeson, the eco musical, is about betrayal of the planet and betrayal of the forest in particular, fighting deforestation, doing what we can to honor the planet.
And I believe that your team first, correct me if I'm wrong, but you guys first performed Treeson in a virtual setting during COVID-19 lockdown. Talk about the initial writing process, where you felt as though the planet was getting this kind of reprieve from all the pollution and greenhouse gases.
Yeah, so Treeson actually was inspired during the COVID pandemic. I had never written a musical before, had never actually written a song before, and I was at home in lockdown, like most of us in the world, and reading a lot of really negative, depressing news. But in the midst of all of this negative, depressing news, I did read an article that was different in tone. And basically the article said, I remember it so clearly, it was basically saying that because we were all at home and lockdown, nobody's commuting to work, nobody's traveling, we're all joined forces as a global society, pollution declined and wildlife started to reclaim their territory. And somehow I latched onto that little nugget of positive news and felt overwhelming emotion and sadness and guilt, to be honest.
Mother, 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 I'm so sorry. I'm
just like any other foolish child. I don't have any other words to say. I hope it's not too late to make things right. But things are changing before our eyes. We must act now before our demise. Our forests are burning, our glaciers gone, the ocean's dirty. What have we done?
So Treeson was really born out of a few different things happening at the same time. Being home, alone, locked down, lots of time in my hands, feeling a lot of climate guilt, and
Talk about the guilt. Why'd you feel guilty?
well, because I knew that I had contributed. I know that I contribute. We all contribute to climate change. We all contribute to the destruction of our planet. And my best friend in college majored in environmental science, and she was president of the Earth Club at university, and she has been a big inspiration to me. But I kind of was more of a passive activist, or kind of defeatist, to be honest. I was like, oh, what's the point? It's all big corporations anyway. Like, how can I play my part? You know, I could travel less, I could eat less meat, I can go secondhand shopping. But it's really up to, like, corporations are responsible for at least 70% of climate change. I'm just one person, what can I do? So I kind of had this defeatist mindset, but something switched when I read that article, and I don't know what. Basically, I felt guilt, but then I felt hope. Like, you know, I can do something. I can do something to share a story of somebody who feels this guilt, who feels the sense of hope at the same time, because I might not be the CEO of a big corporation with a lot of power and influence to influence policy or to influence law, but I can still use my voice and hopefully inspire people with my art.
When will you finally show concern? When will you finally show concern? We're at the point of no return.
I can barely live to earn.
Imagine that each single tree is a part of you and me. Will you play your part before it's too late?
You don't know how powerful your voice is. You don't know how powerful your platform is. You don't know who's listening to you. And we can spark little fires everywhere to enact powerful change.
And from the stage to the sea, World Ocean Day is recognized every year on June 8th. I know what you might be thinking, another day to organize social events and share flyers many of us won't ever read. But the reality is the ocean is in grave danger. It's nothing you haven't heard before. Icebergs are melting, coral reefs are bleaching, and human waste and pollution kills tens of millions of sea creatures every year. There's also the discussion taking place about the impacts of the fishing industry on ocean ecosystems. World Ocean Day is about action, collective action, and what needs to be done for healthy seas and a stable climate. That said, the fishing industry provides nearly half the global population with food. While many believe fish should not be food, others support what's referred to as sustainable fishing.
This World Oceans Day, MSC's celebrating the value of the ocean, really, with our fishery partners around the world to explain to consumers that actually sustainable fishing can be more. It can be more fish in our ocean, a more vibrant ocean. But to your question, we know that the ocean is also in trouble. So around a third of fish stocks are overfished, and many others are also fished to their limits. So we know that there's a real issue here that we need to resolve, but through sustainable fishing, we can hopefully tackle that problem and to the benefit of fishing communities and people that rely on fish to eat across the world.
Let me get your perspective on this train of thought here. Because we consider fish seafood and not wildlife, there seems to be a disconnect in terms of the nature there and whether or not sustainability is more like an afterthought or a thought at all. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I think it's true that we need to ensure that people understand the value that exists within our ocean. There's no getting away from the fact that many types of fish and species are exactly that, seafood. It doesn't mean they're any less valuable to our planet, to our ocean. So we need to ensure that people really take account of the value and importance of the fish and it's the same for all types of food that we eat. So recognizing the value of the fish that we do eat and the importance of maintaining the sustainability of those fish to provide a healthier, wider ecosystem is really, really important. So I don't think we need to relabel the terminology seafood. We just need to generate the better understanding and awareness of that species' role in the wider environment to ensure that we've got a vibrant ocean, one that's helping support ecosystems and the functionality of this planet.
I know quite a few people are in favor of not consuming fish at all because many believe they're sentient beings. But I know Marine Stewardship Council is of the opinion that sustainability is through fishing in a way that you leave fish there for future generations.
And that cycle itself would protect the oceans. But what do you think about no longer using the oceans to fish, but rather cultivating fish in structured, controlled fish farms on land?
Well, I think there's many different solutions to tackle the food security issues that are facing the planet with a global population increase set to reach 10 billion by 2050.
This is where we raise the eggs all the way to when we can transfer them as fingerlings.
We know that, as an example, 38 million people are employed in the fisheries sector globally. We know that many millions, if not billions, rely on seafood as a source of protein. So wild fishing has to remain if we are to feed the planet in a healthy and environmentally conscious way. That being said, wild fishing accounts for about 50% of the global production of fish protein, the other half being aquaculture or fish farming. Now, a lot of that occurs in the ocean, and there are issues associated with that good practicing farming operations will mitigate. But of course, the on-land solution removes the threat of offshoot antibiotics and other treatments that do occur in fish farming in the ocean. MSC is just concerned with wild fishing, and we know that through sustainable fishing, you can actually create healthier fish populations that could potentially feed even more people than the currently fish stocks do. So we truly believe that choosing the blue MSC eco label to support sustainable wild fishing is a great environmentally positive choice for anyone looking to continue to eat fish, because I think that is a choice that people should and can still make responsibly, and pursue the support of an environmentally positive decision as well.
As far as I understand, the MSC gives fishers and companies a stamp of approval, indicating that they engage in sustainable fishing. How do you ensure that habit, those activities continue after they receive that stamp?
Sure. So fisheries that achieve certification aren't just rubber stamped in that moment, in that time. It's important to explain that it's a third-party, independent, accredited body that goes out and assesses, conducts an audit at the fishery against the standards that MSC put out there. Once that fishery gains its certification and it's demonstrated that it's got a healthy stock, it's minimizing its impact on the environment, and is well managed, it'll have a certificate for a total of 5 years. But every year following that, it'll be checked. So that auditor will go back and conduct a surveillance audit to make sure that all those scores are still at the right level, so it can, have the badge of sustainability that MSC provides. After that full 5 years, have a full audit again, rather than surveillance, to ensure that it's still meeting best practice. It's aligned with perhaps a new version of MSC standard as we, grow and launch new versions of it. To ensure that those fisheries that have the label and use the label are rigorously checked against the world's leading standard for sustainability.
George, we know so little about the ocean. What we do know is our impact on it, ice melting, sea level rise, marine heat waves, acidification. When you throw overfishing in there, is sustainability something that's even attainable?
I think there's no doubt that climate change is having an impact in the ocean, and we see that from a fishing perspective in the way stocks are distributed. And so fish will naturally move according to their environment, and if the sea is warming, then it exists in a different area or an extended area from where they exist at the moment. So fisheries that are MSC certified are experiencing these challenges, and through their certification have to demonstrate that they're mitigating the impacts of that. We know that there are 180 different species certified, still over 550 individual certificates for MSC certification worldwide, and that's growing. So we're showing that actually, despite the threat of climate change and acidification and everything else, managers are taking those challenges head on and demonstrating that they can maintain healthy fish populations, minimize their impact on the environment, and provide sustainable seafood choices in that difficult scenario for consumers that are really demanding it. Because we also know that consumers want sustainable seafood. They want to preferentially choose fishery products that aren't causing harm to the environment. And so that's really important that managers are able to mitigate those other threats than overfishing.
Turkey's northern region is replete with green highlands, lush meadows, and white water rivers. The province Artvin contains many small villages, some of which are so remote, people there have adopted a somewhat sustainable way of living. Just look at this view from above, the most serene landscapes, picturesque mountains, trees, streams. The air up here is noticeably different when compared to a major city. There is no traffic. The only vehicles here are those residents used to tend to crops and take rare trips to the city. I spoke with one villager who explained that while there is no industry and little pollution in the village of Savsat, there is still evidence of global warming.
Tabii ki küresel ısınmanın son yıllarda ülkemizi, hatta dünyayı çok ciddi anlamda etkilediğinin farkındayım ve gözlemleyebiliyorum. Çünkü artık mevsimler bile yer değiştirmeye başladı. Normalde burada Nisan ayında, örnek verecek olursam, burada Nisan ayında yağan yağmurlar artık Mayıs ayına taşındı. Ve kar daha geç ve daha çok düşüyor bölgeye. Başlaması gerektiği mevsimde kış başlamıyor ama başladığında çok uzun sürüyor ve çok yoğun sürüyor. O yüzden bütün bunların küresel ısınmayla birebir ilişkili olduğunu düşünüyorum. Geçtiğimiz kış burada çok ciddi anlamda bir kar yağdı ve burada yaşayan büyükler, herkes son 50 yılda yağan en büyük kar olduğunu söylediler. Ben yine bunun da küresel ısınmayla alakalı olduğunu düşünüyorum. Çok ciddi bir kardı. Şu an bulunduğumuz yere 6 metre kar yağdı ve evlerin çatıları yıkıldı. Bizim iş yerimizin, restoranımızın çatısı yıkıldı. Bunun gibi bir sürü felaket oldu diyebilirim. Bu bölgede hiç çığ felaketi yaşanmamışken hiç olmadık bir noktada çığ geldi. Ve bu çok yağan karın sebebiydi. Ve bütün bunlar küresel ısınmayla alakalı. Zaman zaman endişeleniyorum olumsuz etkileyebileceğinden. Ama olumsuzlukları hiç düşünmek istemiyorum. Ben biraz daha felsefik düşünüyorum hayatta. Çünkü olumsuz düşündükçe, evrene olumsuz sinyaller gönderdikçe küresel ısınmanın çok daha fazla artacağını düşünüyorum. Umarım bu şekilde devam etmez. Ama tabii ki olumsuzluklarını işimizde de hissedeceğimize inanıyorum. Evet, iç seramız çok yeni. Deneme amaçlı yaptım. Burada dışarıda domates, biber, salatalık yetiştirmek çok zor. Çünkü gece ısısıyla gündüz ısısı arasındaki fark çok yüksek. Bundan dolayı açıkta yetiştirmek çok zor. Ve kapalıda denemek istedim. Bu sene sadece bir denemeydi. Eğer şu an diktiklerimi büyütebilir ve olgunlaştırabilirsem bir sonraki yıl çok daha büyüğünü, hatta bu köydeki herkese Ve buraya gelip bizde misafir olan herkese yetecek kadarını yetiştirmeyi planlıyorum.
While in Savsat, we searched the terrain for an interesting organism, one that's neither plant nor animal. Fungi are one of the most efficient at breaking down the dead or whatever is available to get what they need. Some forms even break down pollutants and plastic.
The list of reasons to love Savsat's gorgeous natural beauty is long. Mushrooms are certainly one of them. Without them, there would be no soil, no trees, no crops, animals, insects, or humans. They're the world's great decomposers, dominating in the breakdown of whatever dies into nutrients that enrich soil. And they have a unique relationship with plants to share those nutrients. There are millions of types of fungi, including yeasts, molds, and mushrooms. In the case of the latter, there's much more to them than meets the eye.
From what I've read so far, what you see above ground, the mushroom shape, is just a tiny piece of a whole organism underground. It's the fruiting body. I never knew that before, but that's really, really cool.
What we see, and in some cases eat, is just the part of the fungus meant for reproduction. Underground, the fungus is a widespread thread-like network of mycelium, connecting and moving nutrients between trees and plants, forming what fungi experts call the Wood Wide Web.
Check this out.
We found several different strains on our first visit in frigid May and when we came back in sunny June, including a species of pinkgill known as Entoloma hirtipes, which are toxic if eaten.
These babies will cause you digestive issues, vertigo, vision complications, and blood circulation troubles.
Experts say around 100 people die every year eating mushrooms they didn't recognize as toxic, so mushroom collectors require some preparation.
I wonder what that is.
Mushroom hunting is a lot of fun. But you can't just go picking them and eating them, because a lot of them are poisonous. In Turkey, there are about 12,000 types and only 200 edible. So sometimes they can give you a bad stomach. Some of them can kill you. So make sure you go out with an experienced collector, get some education on them so that you can have a really fun mushroom hunting experience.
A seasoned collector can be very helpful.
Is there a secret to finding these mushrooms?
Onların yerlerini bilmek, bir de mevsiminde gelmek. Mevsiminde gelmediğin zaman bulamazsın.
But when the time is right, just find the first one and you'll see many more.
Our ancestors roamed the forests, foraged for food, and slept under the open sky. Nature is in our DNA. When we step into the wilderness, we tap into a primal connection to the environment. But is that connection being lost as more of us move to the cities? While reestablishing that connection could be as easy as trading your sofa for a seat in the park, we took it a step further.
In our fast-paced, tech-driven lives, we often find ourselves confined within four walls and hooked to our screens. But beyond our self-imposed imprisonment is a world waiting to be explored, a world filled with lush green meadows, rushing rivers, and the soothing sounds of birds. These sounds and sights help reduce stress, anxiety, and lower blood pressure. It's only in venturing outdoors that we can comprehend what powerful allies our forests are. This collection of trees can help prevent soil erosion, enriches our soil, and preserves the topsoil that allows for new plant growth. It's the glue that ties together this mountainous Mediterranean ecosystem. Forests like these in Turkey's northeastern Artvin province are a massive filter. They purify our air by capturing harmful pollutants and help ensure clean water for both humans and wildlife.
Yeşilin her tonu burada mevcut. Çok doğal bir yaşam, çok bakir, inanılmaz bir coğrafya.
Tree roots stabilize the soil and can prevent landslides and floods that devastate communities. And when the clouds unleash heavy downpours like this, and trees also provide shelter. Insects, birds, and mammals also shelter in forests. These animals play an important role in pollination, seed dispersal, and pest control. And crucially, the oxygen released by trees during photosynthesis is vital for the survival of most organisms. But across the world, these green giants are dying. One online monitoring network says tree cover shrunk by 1/8 between the years 2000 and 2022, releasing 195 billion tons of CO2 into the atmosphere. And nearly 10 million hectares of forests, on average, disappear annually because of agricultural expansion, mining, and logging. The annihilation of our forests is happening a lot faster than they can recover. It's becoming clearer what exists today may not tomorrow.
And that's our show. We'll leave you with images of Savsat with some of the most beautiful landscapes on the planet.